In this video, I will be talk about the scapula. This is the part 1. Part 1. This is about the scapula. Scapula is also called the shoulder blade. Shoulder blade. It is also called the shoulder blade. For the identification of the feature of scapula, firstly, I will draw a diagram of the scapula. This is the scapula. This is the anterior view. This is anterior view, or also called ventral view. Ventral view. This is anterior view or ventral view. And now also draw the posterior view. This is 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 the spine of scapula. Now, firstly, this is our dorsal surface. Dorsal surface, or you can say this is posterior surface. This is posterior surface and this is ventral or anterior surface. Now, firstly, location of the scapula. Scapula is located on the posterolateral aspect. Posterolateral aspect of the thorax. against मतलब कि एंटीरियर किसके एंटीरियर लेवल क्या होगा इसका 2 to 7th ribs, against 2nd to 7 ribs of the thoracic cage. लोकेशन क्या हो गई posterolateral aspect of the thorax against the 2nd to 7 ribs. This is the location. Now, identify the features. Firstly, for the identification of the feature, first is surfaces. Surface. So, scapula has two surfaces. The first one is, this surface is costal surface. Costal surface. Why it is called costal surface? Because posteriorly ribs is present and this surface is attached with the ribs. That's why it is called costal surface. This is the costal surface and this is our dorsal surface. This surface is dorsal surface. Dorsal surface is divided into two fossa. Dorsal surface divided into two fossa. This is supraspinous fossa. Supraspinous fossa. This is supraspinous fossa, and this fossa is our infraspinous fossa. क्यों बोला इसको supraspinous fossa and इसको infraspinous fossa? Because this is our spinous process. This is the spine of scapula. Spine of scapula. So supra, because above the spine, this is spine and this fossa is above the spine, that's why it is called supraspinous, and this is a fossa, that's why it is called supraspinous fossa, and this fossa is called infraspinous fossa. Why it is called infraspinous fossa? Because this fossa is situated below the spine of scapula, inferior to the spine of scapula, that's why it is called infra. Spinous means is inferior to the spine of scapula, and this is a fossa, that's why it is called infraspinous fossa. So dorsal surface is divided into supraspinous fossa and infraspinous fossa via the spine of scapula, through the spine of scapula. Spine of scapula की वजह से मेरी dorsal surface divided into two. First is supraspinous and the second is infraspinous. This is the dorsal surface and this is ventral surface. Now comes on the borders. Our scapula has three borders. And this is two surfaces. Three borders. कौन सा three border? First, number one, this is the medial border. This border is our medial border. This is medial border, and this border is our lateral border. This is lateral border. This is the medial border, this is the lateral border, and this border is our superior border. This is our superior border. This border is our superior border. And superior border has a notch. This is notch. Superior border has notch. This notch is called, this is a notch, and this notch is called suprascapular notch. Why it is called suprascapular? Because it is present above the scapula, superior surface of the scapula, that's why it is called suprascapular, and this is a notch, this is a depression, that's why it is called suprascapular notch. And this notch, this is the ventral surface, and this notch is covered by a ligament, and this notch is converted into foramen. This ligament is called suprascapular ligament. And this ligament help the converted notch into foramen. This foramen is called suprascapular foramen. This foramen is called suprascapular foramen. लिगामेंट के जुड़ने की वजह से ये नॉच कन्वर्ट हो गया सुप्रास्कैपुलर फोरामेन में, एंड दिस फोरामेन, एंड वाया द फोरामेन देयर इज ए nerve which is passes through this foramen. This nerve is called suprascapular nerve. Suprascapular nerve. And above this ligament, there is a one artery. This artery is called suprascapular artery. This artery is called suprascapular scapular artery. Firstly, there is a notch. This notch is converted by a foramen, converted into foramen via the suprascapular ligament, and this foramen, and through this foramen nerve is passes. This nerve is called suprascapular nerve, and above this ligament there is a artery. This artery is called suprascapular artery. Now comes into the angle. Angles. Our scapula has three angles. The first is inferior angle. This is inferior angle. Inferior angle. Inferior angle is formed by the communicating of the lateral border and the medial border. जब मेरा lateral border और medial border एक दूसरे से communicate हुए, एक दूसरे से touch हुए, then form a angle. This angle is called inferior angle. This angle is called inferior angle. This is inferior angle. Now there is superior angle. This is our superior angle. This is superior angle, and there is superior angle. This is superior angle. Superior angle. This superior angle is formed by the communicating of medial border and superior border. Superior angle is formed by the communicating of superior border and medial border. This is the medial border and this is superior border. These borders are attached each other and form an angle. This angle is called the superior angle. Now the other angle. Now the one angle is also left. One angle is the lateral angle. This angle is the lateral angle. Lateral angle. Lateral angle is formed by the lateral border and the superior border. Lateral angle is formed by the superior border and the lateral border. This border communicate and form a lateral angle. This lateral angle is also called the glenoid angle. Glenoid angle. This angle is also called glenoid angle. This is the three angles and the surfaces and the borders. Now come into the features. Now three things left also. There is three processes. Three process. First process which is, this is the spinous process. Spinous process. And this spinous process have three surfaces. This is the lateral surface, this is the posterior, and this surface is the anterior surface. This is the spinous process. This is the spinous process. And spinous process have lateral surface, anterior surface, and the posterior surface. And this posterior surface form a crest, form a lip. This is the upper lip of spinous crest, spinous process of scapula. This is the lower lip. This is upper lip and this is lower lip. Upper lip and lower lip is formed by the posterior border of the spine of scapula. Spine of scapula has three borders. First is lateral, the other one is anterior, and the other one is posterior. And posterior border form a lip. This lip is called upper lip and lower lip. Now the other process is, it is the continuation of the spinous process. This process is called acromial process. This is acromial process. This is the continuation of the spinous process. This process is called acromial process. Now there is the acromial process. This is the this is the acromial process. This acromial process, and the other process is left. This process is called coracoid process. Coracoid process. This is the coracoid process. Now there is two tubercles. First is above the glenoid cavity. That's why it is called supraglenoid tubercle. Supraglenoid tubercle, and this is below the below the glenoid cavity. This tubercle is called infraglenoid tubercle. This is infraglenoid tubercle. Tubercle is present below the glenoid cavity. This tubercle is called infraglenoid tubercle, and tubercle is present above the glenoid cavity. This tubercle is called supraglenoid tubercle, and this cavity is our glenoid cavity. This is glenoid cavity. So this is all about the osteology of the scapula part 1. Thank you.